Oh, I went on a blind date. That was interesting.
Who hooked you up?
A friend. It was.
Do they got any more friends?
You know what? Like, I don't know what it was. I was just so checked out. I could have been nicer, but I was just like so checked out. I was checked out. I was so
okay. So wait. So you went on a blind date. Mm-hmm. Okay, start from the beginning.
Okay.
I knew nothing about this blind date. So you guys are hearing this. I'm hearing this for the first time with you.
Okay. So when you think of blind date, you think of like all the negative kind of connotations that could go with it. Like, oh, what can go wrong? So I don't know if that was just like plaguing my mind. Like, oh, Karen, this is very desperate of you. I don't know why. I just had negative thinking through the start of it. And I don't know if I like pushed that forward or just made certain things happen. So when I got there, I felt like my energy was already off. But I was like, let me shake it off. Let me fix it. Because I do want to be here and he didn't do anything wrong. So let me just, check the energy. But he was nice. It was just certain things like he was saying that I necessarily didn't align with. And I just checked out of the conversation. He kept saying little things like, oh, with what I do and what you do, we could be a power couple. I'm like, why does it feel like a business meeting? Like, I'm not trying to invest. It's like, ooh. It was just like, ooh, why are we talking power couples on the first date? Like, let's just get some hors d'oeuvres, some drinks. Let's talk a little bit about what's happening on Netflix or Snowfall. Let's take it slow. And then it's just like when they start asking you those intrusive questions, but then I know it's not coming from a malice place, but it's still rude.
What kind of questions?
How come you're not in a relationship? How come you don't have kids? Why don't you have kids? Is something wrong? I'm like,
yeah, that's kind of rude.
Yeah, I'm like, but then it's like they laugh about, like he laughed about it, and I'm like, ooh, there are truths hidden in jokes. So I don't fucking find this funny. And I just think it's a little invasive. I'm not asking you about like, certain things like, hey, are you a family man? Or if it comes up and like, let's gradually get into it. But I just felt like I was being interrogated. So I went to the restroom and then I just went home.
You didn't go back to the table?
Mm-mm. I was like, yeah.
Well, if Mr. Blind Date, if you're watching this, this is why your date did not come back to the table, because you were being very rude. Even though
it was just very invasive.
Dates, I ask all kind of crazy questions because I feel like that's when I'm going to be able to get like the absolute truth, because there's no emotions involved.
Yeah.
And I feel like as emotions and feelings and stuff like that get involved, the more prone
people guys
are to lie. So like I asked all like, you know what I mean, about your if you're dating, who you was dating, what happened, all this type of stuff. Just so I can get the actual, hopefully get the truth. But I feel like that's the one time that I might get the absolute truth, because there's nothing invested.
See, that makes sense. It's just, I think I'm just at a point where it's like, let's figure each other out. Let's have great conversation. If it kind of like, once you feel each other out and you know the vibe of what it's giving, the vibe wasn't really calling for that. So it's like, we're still figuring each other out. The conversation is light. So it's like, I felt like we were like at a level 2 and he took it to a 10 with the questioning, where it just felt like more like not even a conversation anymore. It just felt like interrogating. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, what was rude on my part is like probably leaving and not saying anything. But I did it before we ordered. So it's not like I ran out on the bill or anything. So you're welcome.
I would have had to at least eat.
I felt like, damn. So I ordered the food and she ate and left. I didn't want to be that girl, because they love to go on Twitter with a story. So I didn't want to be that girl. But then I was like, yeah, I'm going to just be the girl who decides to leave. I should have maybe communicated that, like, hey, maybe this is not the best for me. But I was like, let me just go use the restroom. And then when I got in the restroom, I was like, I want to listen to this Pop Smoke song in my car. And then I went in my car and then I was like, I wonder how this sounds in my speakers at home. And then I went home and they sounded great.
So did he call you or text you or like what, like, or was he blocked?
No, he did. He sent me a question mark. He said, is everything good? And he was like, guess you're not coming back. And I think, there we have it. Then my homegirl called me like, Karen. I said, yes. I said, yeah, I'm home. Tell him thank you very much. But it just wasn't for me. Yeah, that could have been seen as childish, but it just wasn't for me. It was just the invasive of the questioning. And I just felt like I just was being interrogated instead of like on a date with a nice gentleman having a good time. This wasn't like a business venture or deal. I'm not trying to raise capital. So it turned into one of those where I'm like, damn, am I at the bank or am I on a date?